Hello there, folks. Hey, this is Joe Wazoo here. Hey, this quick video is just going to talk about MQTT update frequency. And in this case, I'm going to be using the UBDots site for my little test. And I've got set up. I've already got a video on how to configure the UBDots for MQTT, so that's pretty easy. What I'm doing in this one is I'm working on this update rate. And what I got in here right now is once a second. And I've got a tag here called tag1 that's set for an update rate of once a second. The way this operates, the update rate here, is basically anytime this changes, it's going to update that at that frequency. So here at once a second, if I go look at UBDOT's dashboard, and also if I look at the dashboard of my red line device, currently I'm sitting at 19. So if I change this to say 21, for instance, and over here, if I just do a refresh on this, it'll actually get that data every time I make that change. So if I make any changes on this here, it'll show up right away. So basically once a second, I think you can go a little quicker. I think of something smaller, but anyway, once a second, basically any changes to this will cause that to update. Now, if I want to go another way, and that is I only want this thing to update every 60 seconds or once a minute, I can change this to 60 and go ahead and download this to the unit. And now every minute it's going to update that value. However, here's the trick. It's going to update what this value is here at the minute time. So if this sits here and changes from 30 to 35 to 25 to 10 to whatever, some other number, it's only going to update or push that data once a minute to here. So if I go out to UBDots and do some refresh here, so currently it shows 26. That was probably one of the ones I had in here. I'll let this sit for a little bit and we'll come back and we'll see what this does. Okay, I left it sitting for a few seconds and now it says 66, which is exactly the same thing here. Again, let's say I go 65, 64, 63, and then finally end at 60, for instance. Notice that this site, oops, go right here, this tag here, still shows 66. If I slide down here, it'll show the entries each time it gets pushed, but it's not going to show 64, 63, those other numbers. Only at once a minute will get updated. So that's what it's doing there. Now, if you want the red line device to queue up data in the event that it loses connection, MQTT connection, then in that case, you can turn on the buffering, and that'll cause the red line unit to store those values. And then once it connects, it'll reconnect them back up. But the one thing the red line will not do is that any changes between when this happened and last time updated, it's not going to upload those values. So if you truly want those values to be uploaded in that kind of sequential order, I think you're better off making the update rate once a second, leaving this to periodic on here, and then on the service tab, leave it send changes. This is the default setting on here. So leave it send changes, and that'll send just the changes to it. It's not going to sit there and continually update once a second the same value. Only changes will come across. So that's what I would do there in that regard from that perspective. One more thing I could say here is that this update rate being once a second means any changes, that thing's going to get updated. If you read a little further in the manual, if I go over to data tags and click on tag 1, on the format tab, there's a section here called deadband. And if you hit your function F1, the deadband here basically gives you a zone or an area deadband around that value to update. So let's say I put in a deadband of 5 here in this case. And again, if I go back to my MQTT, I'm at once a second. Let me go ahead and download this to the unit. Of course, by the way, when you first download, it's going to push right away what the values are. So I should get 60 through here. So if I do a refresh, comes in at 60. Perfect. Now, with that deadband, the one nice thing about the deadband is that I've got to change by at least 5 for it to push that. So if I change this to 62, let me go pull up our UBDOT site, and if I hit refresh, you'll see that it doesn't show up. Or if I change it to, let's say 57, which is still right around that 60 point here, this won't update. Still sit at 60. However, if I change it from 5 points away from 60 last time updated, say I go to 52, for instance, now this time it should push automatically. Let me do a refresh here. Look, there's the 52. So the deadband you can use to play a little bit with that value as far as pushing the data as well. So the important thing here in this video that I want to make is the update rate determines how fast it pushes the data. It doesn't queue up data. I accidentally told somebody the other day that I thought it would queue up changes and push it. It doesn't. This here determines the frequency that it updates to the MQTT cloud connector. Anyway, thanks a lot, folks. Have a great day. See you later.